Good morning and welcome to the EZFX Trading Room broadcast for Tuesday, September 6th, 2016. My name is Bradley Freed, and for the next 20 to 30 minutes, you'll be joining me for a review of our watch list from yesterday. And we'll also be adding any new trades that have popped up since then and updating any events that have happened with the trades that we have open or that we've been watching. If you have any questions, as always, during the broadcast, I have a chat room on this page. You can post your questions. I will answer all the questions live at the end of the broadcast. And if you're watching the recording, please feel free to send me a question by posting to the Trading Room group under the community menu, sending me a private message via the community, or you can also send me an email at ezfxsignal@gmail.com. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. First of all, let's review where we were at yesterday. We were watching the Euro Pound buy, Pound Swiss sell, Aussie Yen sell, Euro Newsy buy, Pound Yen sell. Our new and open trades were the Newsy Yen sell was new, the Euro Dollar buy was new, the Aussie Newsy buy was new, the Dollar Swiss sell was open, the Dollar Yen sell was open, the Euro Yen sell was open, the Aussie Dollar buy was open, the Aussie Swiss buy was open, and the Aussie CAD buy was also open. Our only trading result was the Euro Dollar sell, which we closed really the end of last week for 103 pips of profit. So let's go ahead and jump over to the charts. We'll run through these and see what's happened and see what we need to do, if anything. It's already been a pretty active trading week. I've sent out quite a few signals, even on Sunday, which is kind of unusual for me, but things did set up. They were setting up from last week. We were watching them, as I indicated in my market analysis report. So we're just ready to go ahead and get into them when they did happen, and they happened to start right after the open this week. So first of all, let's talk about things that have changed. Let's see. First of all, the Aussie dollar hit its first target. And so we took profit on part of the position, moved the stop to break even. And now we're trying to get to the second profit target at the 78.6% Fibonacci retracement level of this downward move that brought us to this low in this Class A zone down here. So we're still in this trade. It's moving right along. We have a bullish triangular moving average. We are seeing a sell bubble here, and we're seeing some reaction to that here. So a little bit of retracement, but nothing really that significant, which tells me that maybe this is just going to keep cruising right along, recover from that slight retracement, and start chugging through this zone to punch through it and validate it to get to our final profit target. At any rate, there's nothing to worry about with the Aussie dollar. Just make sure you've done that management step of taking partial profit and moving the stop to break even. And the other one that had a change was the Aussie the Aussie Swiss, yeah. This we've had open for quite a time. It's been open for 10 days. It opened on August 26th, and it closed today. It hit its final profit target for 155 pips of profit. And that may not seem as much as some of our other trades. However, you have to remember we scaled the trade size to be able to take this trade. So we made over 2% on this if you took the maximum possible trade size. So this is a win, and it's closed. And that means we've opened up a little bit of our leverage for additional trades, which is great because I have some that, especially the Euro Pound and the Pound Swiss, that I'm keen to take when they do open up. 155 pips is a signal trade. Closed. Pretty much I think this pair is going to keep trending along with the other Aussie pairs if they do. So I'm not looking for a sell trade on this right away. So I'm not going to put it on a watch list. We're just kind of done with it. And later on, when it does set up, when the trending is done, after we've kind of seen our trend collapse and it's ready to move the other way, then we'll think about trading this again. But right now, I don't see any new trade on that pair. So we took care of the pressing business. So let's go ahead and just work through our watch list now. Starting with the watching list, we have a Euro Pound buy. Okay, this actually punched through the trend line a little bit, but not enough that I want to trade it. So I'm going to keep the trend line where it is. What I'm looking for is a big candle wick closing above this line, something that tells me that there's been a major change and this pair is ready to go ahead and start moving the other way. It's getting that way. It just hasn't quite given up. It really wants to keep trending down, but I just don't know if there's enough momentum behind it to do that. But we'll see. We're just not ready to trade it yet, but we're getting close. So that's still on our watch list. I still like that trade very much. Pound Swiss, same deal, opposite direction. It closed a little bit below our trend line, but then it moved higher again. Got a Class A signal, a sell bubble, a nice trend line here. If I see a big close below this trend line, that tells me that there's a big shift, then I will go ahead and sell this pair. But that hasn't happened yet, so I'm not going to do it yet. But we're still watching this. This is another trade that I like very much. Aussie yen sell. Let's take a look at that one. This has not set up. It made a higher high. It's actually moving higher. Along with other Aussie pairs, this has moved higher. I do think we can go ahead and draw at least a second trend line like this one. It's kind of parallel to the other one, but it's closer. So that means when the entry signal happens, we're going to be right on top of it. But we're not so close that we're going to be getting false signals and jumping into trades or trying to create an entry where there isn't one. So I'm just going to draw that second trend line and leave it there as a point of reference. We're still watching this. It hasn't opened up yet or shown that it's going to drop for us. Next one is a Euro Nuzi buy. This pair continues to drop. It's challenging this lower low made here at the wick, headed towards this Class B zone down, actually Class A zone right down here. No signs really that it's reversing, but I like these long trends because that means that the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to get a reversal and a trend the other direction, which gives us an opportunity to take profit. And all these pivots that are forming as this pair goes down, those are potential profit targets. So I'm pretty happy with this the way it is. I am going to go ahead and redraw this trend line a little bit, get a little bit of a steeper angle on it by connecting these two wicks instead of the previous two wicks. And that's closer to just where the trend is right now. Other than that, no change. The next one is the pound yen sell. This one also continues to kind of move sideways, and it may drop like the other yen pairs. It hasn't done it yet. I have a couple of trend lines here, and I don't necessarily like them that much anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and delete these. Because I'm anticipating a breakdown of this pair, I'm just going to put a very kind of shallow line right along this current consolidation zone here. And so when there's a break there, and we also have a sell bubble that's formed here, a new sell bubble. Again, if we get a trend line break, a nice big candle close below that, then we can set a stop above the recent high here and select targets below and go ahead and plan a trade. This has been a big trend, and I actually haven't pulled fibs on this yet, so let's go ahead and pull some fibs from this low made here all the way to the high. And you can see that there's an awful lot of real estate that's been covered by this trade that we can use to set up a new trade. Depending on the risk to reward, though, I can take some closer targets. I can use this monthly pivot here. I still like that. That's last month's monthly pivot. And I can also use this month's monthly pivot as a second profit target. Monthly pivots I like a lot. They're really highly reliable. Price tends to want to go there at least once during the month, and it's just a really nice, reliable profit target that I use frequently. So still watching this, but it's looking good, and I just wanted to update that trend line. Okay, getting into our actual new and open trades. So let's look at the New Zealand sell. This is probably the one that is the most not in good condition right now. It dropped nicely. We had a nice breakdown. It actually moved in our direction a fair bit, and then it started to retrace up. It's made a lower high here, lower than the previous high. It may pop up and hit that stop, in which case we're going to have to plan a retrade. I've already drawn a new trend line below kind of what price has been doing recently. That would be our measure for getting into the trade a second time. but it's still open. We haven't stopped out yet. We're drawn down on it, but it's not really significant compared to the rest of our portfolio. I'm not terribly concerned about it, but it is looking like it's close to potentially stopping out. But it also may be close to dropping again and breaking through this trend line. So we'll see what happens. It's still new. You could still get in this. I would probably wait for additional confirmation before I do that if you aren't in it already, especially this trend line here. That would be the confirmation that I'd wait for taking an additional entry or a first entry on this trade if you haven't done so already. Next, let's look at the euro dollar buy. Again, this hasn't really done very much since it broke out. It retraced. We got in down here. It climbed a little bit, dropped a little bit, climbed a little bit more. We're still waiting for it to break out and really start moving in a trend direction. And right now it's just consolidating. So it's open. It's a little bit down from where we got into it, but I still like the trade. I still think the reason for the trade is valid. If you haven't gotten into this trade yet, you can consider just drawing a trend line across the recent wicks and waiting for a break and a close above this line. Just wait for some additional confirmation. You don't have to jump in things just because they're there. Let the currency pair tell you that it's ready to do something before you risk money. That's just a kind of a core principle of good trading. Next, let's look at the Aussie Newsy. I'll check my sound levels here. Yep, they're okay. Aussie Newsy moved higher quite a bit, and then it's retraced down again. So it got pretty close to getting to the first profit target, and then it's moved away from it again. I'm hoping it's just going to rebound up and make a higher high and hit that. And I think it probably will. We still have a bullish triangular moving average. We haven't had a sell bubble form. I'm thinking this is just a retracement, a little bit of volatility on the way to get to continuing this trend at this point. So I'm still in that. It's not really new anymore. This is kind of beyond where you could get into it at this point. So I'm going to have to change this to open. Look at the dollar Swiss sell next. So this trade has not done much since yesterday. It's kind of consolidated, moving sideways. It dropped, retraced a little bit, it still had an opportunity for entry. You could probably still get into this on a retracement, but I'm thinking it's going to drop and go to this monthly pivot and then further on down. It's just we have to wait for that to happen. Now, all these pairs that are related to the dollar, they're kind of holding on to the hope that they're going to move higher again, and something may happen. There may be a catalyst that drives them higher, but I think eventually the bulls will capitulate to the bears, and we're going to see a downtrend emerge and proceed for quite a distance before we have another up move. So that's still open, just hasn't done much since yesterday. Dollar yen sell, that's our next trade. This was a signal trade, and it dropped nicely, broke through a couple trend lines, then it retraced, dropped again. I drew a second trend line here, and it dropped and broke through that. So that tells me that this is still weakening. You know, we have a triangle moving average that's gone full bearish red, and I'm just waiting for a catalyst to drive this lower and back to the monthly pivot. But it's still open. I still like this trade. It's just that sometimes these take a while to get going, and right now we're in that phase where it's just at the getting ready to drop, but it hasn't gained velocity yet. So we're just waiting for that to happen. Next, let's look at the euro yen. This is almost exactly the same trade. Again, it dropped, moved a little higher, dropped a bit again. I did draw a second trend line down here just for fun, just to kind of see if this is proceeding at pace or not. And it hasn't broken through that yet. So when it breaks through and closes that, we'll know that, and closes below this line, we'll know that our trend is kind of starting to move again in a positive direction towards our profit targets. Next, we have the Aussie dollar buy. That's also open. We actually updated this already. So again, the stop has moved to break even. On that first part of that trade, we made 75 pips. And if we get to the second profit target, we'll collect 152 pips. Trade is sized appropriately. So let's look at the dollar CAD finally. And this dropped quite a bit, but then it's rebounding along with the other Aussie pairs. It's rebounded quite a bit. We're back in the middle of this zone we were trading in for a long time. I'm hoping it'll break out, get back to this monthly pivot, and then get to our first profit target on this up move. I'm hoping this is a major shift, and it'll carry us at least to the first profit target, so we can move the stop to break even and take some money off the table. But right now it's in good shape. Yesterday it didn't look so good. I was thinking this was the most kind of worrisome of our trades, but now it's okay again. So hopefully it'll continue to be so. Hopefully we'll get a color change in the triangular moving average to bullish blue, and it'll start moving again in the direction of our target. All right, so that's all I've got today. I don't really have any new trades that I'm looking at just now. We have a lot on our plate. I kind of just want to work through these and manage them. And right now everything's looking pretty good. So let's just stay the course and see where the week takes us. I'm going to check real quick and see if we have any live questions. Nobody was logged in live when I first started. And no, I'm all by myself at the moment. But if you're watching the recording, then you may have questions. And if you do, again, you can go to the community, you can go to groups, you can join and post to the trading room group. I love to get questions on there, and also other members get an opportunity to see your question and at least think about what you said, if not give you an answer or have a discussion with you about your question. If you go to members, you can find me. I'm EZFX. You can send a private message via the community system, or just send me a good old-fashioned email at ezfxsignal@gmail.com. Always happy to hear your questions. Always happy to talk about these trades and any difficulties or concerns you may be having, so we can take this journey together and make a living trading. Since there's no questions right now, I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast. This has been our Tuesday broadcast. We'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday, the 7th, for another edition of the EZFX Trading Room. Look forward to seeing you there, and happy trading, everybody. I'll see you soon.